Well, g'day. So you've got your ATAR. Now what? My name's Rob Malicki. I'll start with a bit of a story for you for this live stream on what to do now you've received your ATAR. And my story starts, I'm sitting on the bed in my parents' bedroom. The pillows are all fluffed up. And in my lap, I've got one of those old school touchpad telephones. Have you even seen one of them? It's like cabled into the wall with this like curly cable. And I pick up the phone, and on the touchpad, I dial a number. And the first time I dial, it's engaged. I have to hang up. I wait a few minutes, I pick it up, and I dial again. And while this is happening, I can feel like my stress and my nerves just starting to build. And I dial again, nothing. I dial again and nothing. And all this time, I can just feel my tension building and building and building. And then finally, maybe on like the fifth go, I dial the number and it rings. And then a mechanical voice comes on that says, "Hello and welcome to the University Results Hotline." And I'm dialing in for my university results. I remember this so clearly because I had this feeling of anticipation and dread as I was dialing in to get those results. And at that time, at that moment, all across the state, thousands and thousands of people were doing exactly the same thing as me. And we didn't have the internet in order to be able to look it up immediately. You literally had to get on the phone and call in order to get your results. And for some people, they didn't even call up at all. They literally waited until a piece of paper arrived in the envelope to tell them what their result was. So the world has definitely changed. But one thing that hasn't changed in all of this time is that feeling that I had, which you probably had today when you were waiting for your ATAR results. And that's that feeling of being at the end of something and not quite knowing exactly what the future is going to hold for you. I remember that feeling well. And I think one of the reasons why that feeling is so confronting is maybe you've gotten a result that you really wanted. Congratulations if that's you. Amazing. Maybe you got a result that you're really unhappy with. Or maybe you're somewhere in the middle and you're kind of like, yeah, it's all right. It's not too good, not too bad. Maybe you don't even care. But I think the really hard thing for you, for people who are in this situation right now, and this I worked out very soon after I'd received that result myself, it was less about getting the result than it was that I was at the end of something and I really didn't know. I didn't understand what was coming next. And that's kind of where you are right now. Maybe you're going to go to uni. Maybe you're not yet sure exactly which degree you're going to get into or which university you're going to go and attend. And you certainly haven't done it before. So you haven't been to uni and you don't necessarily know what that actually is going to feel like. All of these things are real. And now what's most important is that you've reached the end of something. Congratulations. Regardless of what that result is, it's kind of like, tick, that stage of life is done. You can celebrate, let your hair down a bit, relax for a little while, and then worry about what comes next. So this is a milestone, and we always absolutely need to celebrate milestones. Because sometimes you've won, sometimes you've lost, doesn't really matter. You're going to learn, you've learned something out of this whole experience of being through school. The next step is going to be a hell of a lot of fun. And I'm going to talk more about that a little bit later in this live stream. So firstly, you've got your ATAR. Congratulations. What's next? Let's have a look at some of the things that you really need to do. The first thing that you really need to be thinking about if you're intending to go to university, depending on what your results is looking at your university preferences. Let me take this hat off. God, it's a little bit warm in here today. It's to look at your university preferences because changes to university preferences are due by tomorrow. That's the 18th of December. So if you're watching this today on the 17th as we're live streaming, awesome. Otherwise, it's the 18th of December at 11:59 p.m. It's not very generous, is it? They give you like a day to work out whether or not you need to change your preferences. Now, obviously, if you have put your top priority, the thing you really want to get into at the top of the list, and you've gotten the mark that should meet that entry requirement, then you're sitting pretty. But always put that top priority, even if you didn't quite get the mark that you were hoping to get you into your first preference, you should always stick that dream course at the top of your list. Why? Because you don't know who else is going to be getting into that particular program. And if maybe the entry mark ends up being a little bit lower than what you expected. The second thing that you don't know is how things like adjustment factors play into it. Depending which institution you've applied for and which university you've applied for, some degrees, some institutions have got adjustment factors that come into play, and that could be the thing that gets you over the line into the degree that you really want. Now, the other thing that's coming up tomorrow, 18th of December, is that universities are holding what they typically call an info day. And essentially, this is your last chance to get in there and have a look at those institutions that you might be thinking of going to study at to see if it's going to be for you. If you've gotten your first choice, you've gotten the mark for it, and awesome, you might not need to go to University Info Day, although it can just be fun. Once again, this is your chance to get on campus with thousands of other students and experience a little bit for real. Go and take advantage of that. But most importantly, if you're not sure if you're going to get into that course or not, this is the chance for you to go and hit up one of those campuses, talk to academics who are teaching classes, so the teachers who teach the classes, to talk to current students, to do campus tours, to get a feel about whether or not an institution is going to be the right one for you. So make sure you get along to the info days tomorrow. If one of the, you're looking at one of the universities here in Sydney and those info days are going on. I'm actually going to be at the University of Sydney Info Day. They've very kindly invited me along, which I'm super excited about. I'm going to be meeting with students, creating some content, checking out the campus and everything that's going on. So if you see me on campus, if you see this bad boy wandering around, make sure you come up and say good day, because I'd love to hear your story and to have a chat about what you're hoping to do at university. The next thing you can do, the Choosing Your Uni platform. This channel is called Choosing Your Uni, but this year we have created a world, I think definitely an Australia first, maybe a world first. It's a platform where you can go in and using AI, it'll help work out what degrees and institutions are the perfect match for you. You know what we call uni match? We're really factual here, where we get to the point and call things what they are, like choosing your uni and uni match. There you go. You can jump in there and you can actually do these quizzes that'll actually take you through, look at your individual preferences and goals and the like, and match you up to different institutions and different degrees. It's not too late for you to jump on the platform and double check your choice to make sure that it aligns with you. 1 in 7, that's 1 in 7, 35,000 undergraduate students drop out of university after their or during their first year of study. It's a huge number. So don't let that be you. Make sure that you've double checked that the subject you want to study at uni actually aligns with you. Because I hate to tell you this, if you don't like blood, becoming a nurse or a doctor or a veterinarian is really not a good idea. So the beautiful thing about this Choosing Your Uni platform, the AI technology, is that it helps identify those things that really align with you and the things that might not align with you. So it's probably worth 20 minutes jumping in there. It's all free. Jump in the platform and have a look at that. Next, in terms of dates and deadlines, if you have an application in for the Education Access Scheme, so that's if you faced challenging circumstances, I think those letters are out tomorrow as well. And then the final offers, I believe they're called unconditional offers, are out on the 23rd of December. So you're going to be finding those out really soon. Now, all of that said, the results for uni places are going to be out really soon. So until then, just chill. You're going to be all right. Doesn't matter what happens. Life will open doors for you. And I think this is something that I really wanted to talk about in this live stream. I have a staff member who's been working with me. I've been working with her for many, many years. Super lady. And she started with us and celebrated her 25th birthday, which if you're like 17, 18, seems like a lifetime away still, and it probably is. But the thing is when she was celebrating her 21st birthday, 25th birthday, sorry, she was saying, "Oh my God, I'm so old, I'm 25 years old." Which is funny probably from your point of view, isn't it? Because 25 still seems a hell of a long way away. And that's because it's all relative. But when she was talking about celebrating her 25th, I was thinking to myself, wow, these days people are going to live to 100, which means she's kind of finished her first quarter, if you know what I mean, like her first quarter of life. And to some extent, it's kind of the same for you, right? Like, let's say that life expectancy is 80 years. Getting up towards 20 means you've just about finished the first quarter of your time here on this earth, which isn't bleak. I think that's extremely exciting because that first quarter is so much about other people. It's so much about our parents, our families, the people around us. We kind of spent school. We kind of spend all of that time being told what to do. Obviously, as you're getting through this last bit of school, you start to have more independence. Maybe you're working a job and things like that. But pretty much most of the control over your life has been held by somebody else. Quarter two is different. Quarter two is you doing your thing. And so this is a really exciting time because this is you taking the reins and deciding what's going to happen going forward. And the great news is that you are still super young. Like my friend who was 25, she's still young. Even when you're 25, you've still got plenty of time to change your mind about your direction in life, to go and do further studies, to go and upskill and change careers, work in another company, meet new people, go traveling. There are all these things that you can do. So don't feel like just because you've reached the end of this, this one point, like this first quarter, this first big milestone of finishing the HSC, finishing your high school, that means you've got to make decisions all at once. It's absolute crap. You've got tons of time to work it out. You can spend the next 5 years, next 10 years working out exactly what it is that you're keen on doing, trying things, experimenting, internships, work different places, do different studies, take a gap year, go traveling, and you're still going to be super young and have heaps of time to work it out. So don't stress. You got plenty of time. There is no pressure on you. And once you get to my age, you'll know that having that time is such a luxury to be able to go back and figure things out. Finally, the last thing I really wanted to talk about in this live stream was to talk about alternatives to universities and different pathways into university. And there are a couple of resources I'd like to share. The first one is if you jump on your phone, or even if you just search for it on the internet, we have a podcast which is called Choosing Your Uni. And one of the very first episodes I did on the Choosing Your Uni podcast was on pathways to university. And so if you've missed out on getting the mark that you wanted to get into your preferred course of study, or even to get into uni in general, there are different ways that you can still get into university. One of the ways is through pathway colleges. So these are organisations that are attached to universities most often. And there are private ones as well, but there are also ones that are attached to universities and allow you to start studying subjects that will relate to a degree that you ultimately go on to study. Pathway colleges are a good way of keeping the momentum up. So if you've been studying and you want to keep up the momentum of those studies and keep heading towards that degree, even if you didn't get the admission mark that you're hoping for, a pathway college might be for you. Now, important thing to know about most pathway colleges, I think all pathway colleges, is that you can't have a Commonwealth supported place, which means you will be paying full fees, but depending on your circumstance, maybe that's okay. The second alternative, which is totally legitimate, is to take a gap year or even a partial gap year. Most institutions for at least the broad degrees like a Bachelor of Arts, a Bachelor of Science will have multiple intakes in the year. So you might actually be able to take 6 months off and then rejoin university about halfway through the year. And there are rolling admissions for those later intakes. So whilst this big intake of students coming out of high school and hitting uni all at once, this is like the major intake. There are other intakes for most institutions throughout the year, and you can get in that way. If you didn't get the mark that you wanted and you still want to try and get into a particular degree, it's called the STAT test. I think it's the Special Tertiary Admissions Test, which is run by an independent organisation called ATAR, and you can basically Google that. Now, not every the STAT test doesn't work for every degree and every institution. You'll need to do a little bit of research about which programs it is relevant for, but that is an alternative to help get you into the degree that you are interested in doing if you haven't necessarily gotten the mark that you want. I think that's it. That's nice and compact. I'm happy to hang around for a live Q&A. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. It's been awesome to present a little bit to you. Congratulations again. What an amazing thing to have achieved, just to have gotten through school. A lot of people don't actually get through to getting an ATAR. So even if you haven't gotten the mark that you wanted, you've still achieved something that a lot of people don't. So good on you. Lovely to chat with you, and I'm happy to stay around for a Q&A. TDL, thanks for joining here. Master of Cybersecurity at Deakin University. Look, I'm a massive fan of Deakin University. I think it's an institution that punches well above its weight, and cyber is one of the areas that it's really well known for. So I would rate that as a really good choice. I love Melbourne. Melbourne is a great city. So I'm not sure if you're a domestic student or international, but I think that that's a very solid choice indeed. So good stuff. Any other questions about that? All right. Awesome. It's been a lot of fun. I'm going to be doing more live streams. I think it's a great medium, great chance to engage. So any questions that you might have, make sure you drop them in the chat of this video and I'll always get back to you. And if you're watching this, remember, UCID tomorrow. I'm hoping to see you there. Have a great afternoon. Congratulations.